What's going on, guys? Welcome to another Doctor Who Classic review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the third Doctor Jon Pertwee story, Spearhead from Space. Yeah, it's Jon Pertwee's first story as the third Doctor, his first ever story, first story from season 7 as well. Yeah, so I've already watched this one. I've seen this one actually a few times before, but I've now got the DVD and I thought it was time to give this one a watch again and do a review on it. So let's get started. This is Spearhead from Space by Robert Holmes. Exile. The Time Lords have banished the newly regenerated Doctor to Earth, but the Doctor isn't the only alien to have arrived, as a swarm of meteorites have crashed into the sleepy English countryside, bringing with them a terrible new threat to mankind. As the Nestine plan to take shape, Unit, the Doctor and his newly appointed scientific advisor Liz Shaw race against time to stop humanity being replaced by a terrifying plastic I don't know what that word is, race. Yeah, that's a weird word. I've never seen facsimile. I've got no idea that word. Yeah. So nice little plot on the back of the DVD there. So yeah, Jon Pertwee's first story is the third Doctor. He's just regenerated. The Time Lords have exiled him to Earth. So this starts up the whole Earthbound thing that went on for really until season 10. So you know, 3 whole seasons, which was pretty crazy. It all started here. But anyway, let's start off with the cast. Jon Pertwee as the third Doctor. Obviously this is his first appearance and he's really good right off the bat. I mean, he's actually a little bit comedic in this, which is funny because I haven't actually seen a lot of season 8 or 9. I've seen all of season 10 and a little bit of season 11, actually not really much. But yeah, seasons 8 and 9 I haven't seen much of. I've seen pretty much all of season 7 apart from Ambassadors of Death. But you know, from what I have seen of the third Doctor, he's not really the comedic funny Doctor, you know, like Patrick Troughton, like Tom Baker in a lot of ways, like Sylvester McCoy, you know, people like that, Matt Smith. He's not really the comedic Doctor. He's a bit more of a serious, more, you know, martial arts fighting James Bond-esque Doctor. And the funny thing is, a lot of the scenes in this one, he's very funny in this one. I mean, some great moments include, you know, the one where he's in bed at the hospital and he's just saying shoes. I think it's just I laugh when I see that scene. I love him just going shoes, and then he grabs the shoes and he like uses them as a pillow and he like hugs up to them. That's just a really funny scene. I really like that. You know, you've also got him in the shower, you know, like, you know, when those people come in and he's having a shower. That's really funny as well. So yeah, Jon Pertwee actually has a lot of funny moments in this one. And altogether, I think he nails the role straight away. Although I do think he changes it up quite a lot. Like I said, he's not really the comedian later on. I don't think he's more of the action Doctor rather than a funny Doctor. But I mean, he still starts off this one very well. Caroline John as Liz Shaw. So of course this is her first appearance as well. She comes into this episode and she is the Doctor's new scientific advisor, which is interesting, you know, how the Doctor gets a scientist, somebody almost of his, you know, scientific knowledge to work with him in units. And I do find that interesting. I mean, she's one of the more different companions, I suppose, especially to what we're used to today, because she is very smart. She knows what she's doing. We did have a few of them actually in the classic series and even before this. But yeah, I mean, she was, of course, Liz Shaw was only in season 7, so she was actually only in 4 stories. And I do quite like Liz. I think she's maybe a little bit annoying in this one. You know, like, some of her first scenes talking to the Brigadier, she comes off as a little bit rude and a little bit annoying in a way, but at the same time, when she's with the Doctor and later on in the episode, she really does come into her own. I think, you know, throughout the whole series, she does a very, very good job. So, yeah, I do quite like Liz. Personally, I do like the, you know, because she's a more scientific, knowledgeable character. Personally, I do like the slightly more normal, down-to-earth characters that you can relate to a bit more. But I think as a character, Liz Shaw is still very good. Then we've got Nicholas Courtney as Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. Now this is his, I believe, his 3rd appearance. However, this is really the first proper appearance of him. I think he was in The Abominable Snowman, and I believe he was also in, was it The Invasion or something like that? However, this is the first time we properly get him, and he's staying around for a while now. And this is also the earliest I've seen him in a story yet. And yeah, I mean, he's really good. I do really love the Brigadier. There's not really much else I can say about him. Alright, so let's get into the good stuff, starting off with something that I've really just been talking about. Introduction to the Third Doctor, Liz Shaw, and kind of unit. So first of all, yeah, the Third Doctor. Of course, we're introducing this new Doctor, the third incarnation, and like I just said before, you know, we're getting to know him and getting to know what he's going to be like. Then Liz Shaw, you know, we've got a new companion, and she's a bit more of a smarter companion, and you know, something a little bit different, I suppose. However, we did have that, I suppose, we actually did have that quite a bit in Zoe, who was one of the previous companions, and a couple of others. So, not something new, but I don't know, it's just something slightly different to what we'd be used to later on, especially. And then, like I said, kind of the introduction to units. Now, in the Abominable Snowmen, from what I remember, Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart wasn't a brigadier. I think he was only a sergeant. I believe, however, in the Invasion or wherever it was that he came back, I'm fairly sure he was a brigadier then. So technically, and I don't know if he was part of unit, I'm not 100% sure on that whole thing. He might have been. I haven't seen the episode yet, but yeah, this is the first proper introduction to unit, in my opinion. Like I said, I haven't seen those other stories yet, but yeah, really we're properly introducing unit and the brigadier here. The Doctor escaping in a wheelchair, another one of those funny moments from this episode where he grabs the wheelchair from the hospital and he starts bloody escaping from those I can't remember who they are now. There's people chasing after him. I think it's when, you know, when they find out, when the press finds out that, or the journalists find out that there's an alien in the hospital, and they're trying to kind of get him, and you know, he gets away in the wheelchair. You know, he's been like bound. You know, he's got sticky tape over his mouth. Not bound, whatever you call it. Bound and gagged. He wasn't bound and gagged. He just had sticky tape over his mouth, and he was like, he got on a wheelchair and started pushing it, you know, making the wheels go, and was just flying down the road. I thought that was just another really funny scene. The Autons at their creepiest and best, I think. I do think the Autons, they only had 2 appearances in the classic series, and only really have had 1 proper appearance in the new series, maybe 2. But I do think they're, especially for the classic series, they're at their best here. You know, they returned in Terror of the Autons, which is a story I reviewed a few weeks ago. And I do think they're much, much better here. You know, they're creepier. They don't talk, because I think the fact that they talk in Terror of the Autons, and just the look of them all together, I just don't really like. I think they look creepier here. The fact they don't talk is creepier. And altogether, I think they're just much more effective here. The Doctor getting his new clothes, like I said before, you know, the moment when he's in the shower and he's going la da da da, and those people come in, takes his like cape off and his hat, and then the Doctor takes the cape and the hat, grabs a shirt as well. And I mean, Jon Pertwee absolutely rocks the you know, the black cape with the red kind of underlining, or whatever you want to call it. It looks really good on Jon Pertwee. So yeah, really good moment. It's always good when the Doctor gets his new clothes, a new regeneration. It's a great scene. The iconic shop window dummy scenes, honestly some of the best scenes in the whole episode, in the whole story. This is a 4-part story, by the way, 4 episodes long, and I think episode 4 for me is definitely the best part. It's the most exciting part, because we get to see the Autons, you know, really going at it. You know, going at it. That sounds really rude. The Autons, you know, they start coming out of the windows, smashing through the windows, shooting people on the streets, just like marching down the road, on the side paths. You know, it's just, I think that whole montage, I suppose, of scenes with the dummies coming out of the shops and stuff. It's just such an awesome scene. They replicated it quite a lot in Rose, you know, the first episode of the new series, and it works really well there as well, but this is really where it originates from, and I just think that's a really iconic scene, and it really shows what these Autons can do, and yeah, just really good stuff. Hibbert realizing he's being hypnotized. Yeah, so Hibbert realizes that he's being hypnotized by kind of the Nestine. There's that guy who's being controlled by the Nestine, or whatever he is. I know, I think he kind of is an Auton, but I wasn't 100% sure what was going on there, but you know, that guy that was very clearly a bit strange all the way through. And yeah, you could feel all the way through the story that something was going on with Hibbert. He just didn't seem quite right. And then, you know, it's revealed that the Nestine consciousness, they are telepathic, and they can, you know, they hypnotize this guy and make him do what he's been doing, and he realizes that, and you know, that's a really good scene where, you know, he realizes what they're making him do, and he does not agree with it at all, and I just think that's some really awesome scenes. And then also Unit and the army fighting the Autons at the end of the episode. Yeah, just some really good stuff, you know, like I said, off the back of the shop window dummy stuff, or the Unit and the army start fighting all the Autons in the streets, and just some really good action scenes. So the only bad thing I have to say about this story is one that really props up for a lot of Classic Who, and it's just that it is a little bit slow at times. Like I said, this is 4 parts long, and I mean, it's not slow in the sense that I got bored, it's just slow in the sense that it would be like, okay, it would be nice if we got going a bit more. I think the first episode was okay. We were kind of trying to introduce the Doctor a little bit, and Liz, and, you know, the Brigadier and stuff. So that's not too bad, but I think episode 2 maybe is a little bit slow. I definitely think episode 4, and to be honest, a lot of episode 3 is very well paced and enjoyable, and to be honest, the whole story is enjoyable. I just do think at moments it is a little bit slow, but to be honest, that's kind of just classic Doctor Who in a nutshell. So, what do I think of Spearhead from Space? Well, I think it's pretty good. It's one of the best post-regeneration stories ever. The only post-regeneration story I haven't seen yet is, well, technically it's Power of the Daleks, but then I suppose there is also Time the Rani, Twin Dilemma. Yeah, actually there's quite a few. Never mind, there's quite a few I've got to see. But yeah, I mean, you know, those are obviously ones that aren't particularly highly rated. This is going to be one of the best, it really is. I'm giving Spearhead from Space a 10 out of 10, although it is a bit slow at times. That's really the only issue I have with it, and because it's not slow in the sense where I get bored really, it's kind of just something that happens in Classic Who, I'm still giving it a 10 out of 10. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.